This is TWiT.
I want to rave about my search engine.
As you do often. You are on record
really do.
often. Yes.
I remember in the late 90s, and maybe even earlier than that, I used to work with computer columnist John C. Dvorak, who used to have a litmus test for geeks. He'd say, what internet browser to use? I mean, search engine to use. And if they said Excite, if they said Yahoo, he would go, nah. He'd say, it's Google. And I think when everybody has that experience when they first use Google of like, this is a revelation. This is how search should be. But in the intervening years, sad to say, enshittification has taken over Google's search results, the latest being their AI summaries, which are often wrong, often misleading, and something most people just don't want. I've gone on a search, you've heard me talk about it, for a better search engine for a long time. I've tried them all, DuckDuckGo, Ecosia, and I even paid for Neva back in the day until Neva threw in the towel saying you can't compete against Google in search. Then I found something called Kagi, Kagi. Kagi had a crazy proposition. You want good search? You want no ads? You want reliable results? Pay for it. Pay for it? But what? So I've been paying for Kagi Search for a couple of years now, and I must say, it's worth every penny. Joining us right now, the man who started Kagi with his own money, Vlad Prelovac, who is the CEO and founder of Kagi. Vlad, it's such a pleasure to meet you and have you on the show. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Honored to be here.
You self-funded. You put $3 million in at the beginning to bootstrap it.
Yeah, it turns out that every VC in Silicon Valley thought it was a crazy idea. And
nobody would give you money, in other words.
Yeah, I did what one's supposed to do when they live in Silicon Valley. When you have a crazy, outlandish idea, you go to VCs and see if somebody would fund it. It turns out that they really thought it was crazy. And so I ended up putting basically all of my money into the project because I so desperately needed something that I can rely on for my search and also that my kids can use without being surveilled and profiled all the time. So this is how Kagi was born.
In 2018, no less, which I can kind of understand the VC saying, what are you talking? No one's going to ever beat Google. Partly because Google gives a lot of money to companies like Apple, Samsung, Mozilla to make sure that they're the default search. In fact, good luck trying to change your search on your iPhone to Kagi. It's not an entry. Yeah,
pretty much so. The main difference is that I never had a plan to kill Google or dominate the world. The plan was always only to create a search engine that you can trust, that will have your best interest in mind, and that can align incentives through a paid business model, meaning people pay for the search results. If they're not good enough, they walk away with their wallet. So that creates this positive feedback loop that created a lot of innovation, I would say, in Kagi as a product, in search experience, and just is a wonderful thing to use, knowing that a tool that you need and rely on so much through the day is designed with your best interest in mind, and not some random advertisers.
You're a public benefit company, a corporation, as of last year. So that means that it's not a nonprofit, but it means that you have to, there are some rules regarding how much money you can make. Does it also mean you can't sell out?
No, it means that we are not only beholden to our shareholders, but also to our public benefit statement. So, normally corporations in US are, at will of the shareholders and optimize for shareholder value. A public benefit corporation also can take into account their public benefit mission. So that makes a great deal of difference in terms of how we think strategically, how we make decisions, how we, create initiatives.
The public benefit statement is, quote, Kagi is committed to creating a more human-centric and sustainable web that benefits individuals, communities, and society as a whole with a transparent business model that aligns the incentives of everyone involved. So now you're kind of bound to live up to that.
Yes, which was the goal from day one. So I only learned about PBC concept last year. So this is when we decided to transform to a PBC. But it is basically a structure that allows the companies like ours to really emphasize their mission.
Are you profitable?
As of this time, we are break-even profitable. So
is that enough for you? Is that sufficient? Are you happy with that?
Sure, I'm beyond happy. So we have a decent search engine. We are, providing stability for 50 or so employees, and we have the world's best search engine. So that's a lot to be happy about.
One of your most recent employees is a good friend of the network. Mike Elgin's son, Kevin Elgin, has joined you on the team. Now, Kagi's not free. I mentioned that. There is a free tier, which gives you 100 searches. I think I started with the $5 a month, 300 searches a month. And then I just skipped right to the $25 a month. Not so much because I needed the number of searches, because you can get unlimited searches for $10 a month, but because I really wanted to support you. I really believed in what you were doing. And I thought, if anything is going to succeed against Google, it's going to succeed because we, its users, want it to and support it that way.
Tell more about the assistant that you get at that level.
Yeah, so that's actually a little bit controversial. I'm going to mention real quickly because it's the timing couldn't be better. If you go to Ars Technica, the front page right now has Lee Hutchinson's article. Enough is enough. I dumped Google's worsening search for Kagi. I like how the search engine is the product instead of me. And if you haven't, even if you use Kagi, you should probably read it. I actually learned about some amazing things Kagi does. That's very, very cool. You can really control your search. You don't need to, but you can totally control the search results. But a little controversial because one of the things people are moving to Kagi for is the fact that this Google AI summary that they're foisting on us, a lot of people dislike. In fact, Lee refers to that. He says, I'm getting incorrect information from Google at this point in this search summary, and I don't like that. So I think a lot of people say, I'd like to go somewhere without AI. What is your plan with AI? What are you doing with the AI?
Yeah, that's a great question. First of all, AI has been part of search for decades. And we are talking here about generative AI, the latest breed, the LLMs, which have been controversial, mostly because of their tendency to hallucinate. So using them in information consumption scenarios is not, really optimal all the time. And from day one, when LLMs became a thing in late 2022, we had this thing called the AI integration philosophy. It basically said we're going to treat AI as a tool, and it's going to be on demand only. So we're not going to push it down user throats. And if people want to use it, they certainly can. And that means that when you use Kagi, the search engine, it's going to work with like any other search engine. Well, I guess not anymore, but you're going to get search results. But then we built some clever little things, like if you add a question mark to the end of your query, you can get an AI summary of the results, which is very useful.
That's cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, you just get a very quick summary.
You don't get it unless you put the question mark in there.
You have to put a question mark in, and then you get this little AI summary.
Yeah.
So it's pretty useful. I use it sort of 50% of the time. It's always providing references and sources and citations. And, there are also some people who want to use these LLMs and just talk directly to them. So we build a product around that called Kagi Assistant, which basically gives you access to all the top LLMs in the world, grounded in Kagi Search. So you get benefit of both, accessing all the models out there and the accuracy of Kagi search results. And you can do a lot of cool things with it. My favorite one is I created a custom assistant called Athletic Coach. So, whenever I run, do my cycling, whatever, I dump the screenshots from Strava into it, and, I ask it to scrutinize my session, things like that. So definitely...
Look at all the models you can choose from, by the way, including Google's own models. I mean, this is a great way to access all of these incredible models. QN is in there, DeepSeek, Grok, of course. And it looks like you keep up with the latest.
Yeah, I pretty much do update this almost daily. And you get this even on the $10 plan, but on a $25 plan, you get the high-end models. So, we are approaching AI, I like to think, very mindfully, like not really rushing into it and trying to be very thoughtful about how we use it, how we integrate it in product, how to add value. For example, in Kagi search, I don't know if you knew any search results that you see. You can, for example, translate them. You can summarize them. You can ask questions about that page. So that's all sort of one click away, but still on demand. So,
by the way, you can also exclude AI-generated images from the image search. So you can have it both ways. If you don't want to see AI images, you can. I have that still turned on, but I mean, I like seeing all the images. This is the most customizable search engine you've ever seen, with these lenses, the personalized results. I mean, there's nothing you can't do in this search engine. It's pretty amazing.
I think what we are showing here is what a search engine looks like when you optimize for the user.
Yeah.
And Kagi is all about user agency. So putting user in control, not trying to figure out for them what they want to see, but actually giving user the tools to personalize their search feed, to find the results they want, and things like that. And this is what people pay $10 a month for.
It is an issue, I think, for a lot of people. You can't just choose Kagi on the iPhone, but you do have instructions in your Kagi documents of how to make that happen, because it is possible to make that happen. You also offer your own browser, the Orion browser, which is a WebKit-based browser for Mac, iPhone, and iPad. And that, of course, can use and does use Kagi as its default search. So if people want to switch to Kagi, there are ways to do it. It's just there's a few extra steps. This is where Google's, the power of the default has made Google so dominant. I think it's interesting that people are starting to turn away, though, even though it takes extra steps. Where do you get your search results? That's the other thing people want to know. Is this just Bing recast?
Yeah, could you talk a little bit about your web index and your news index?
Sure. So we are a small company, bootstrapped and all that. So I realized from day one, you cannot, we will not be able to index the entire web and things like that. It's going to be billions of dollars. So we are getting search results from every other search engine that we can pay the results for. And then we also build our own index, which focuses on non-commercial content, which is the content I enjoy the most reading, and B, something that's missing in other search engines. And by this, I mostly mean personal blogs and forums and things like that. So sort of unmonetized human writing, so to speak. So, and then we mash all that together. We apply our algorithms. We do some nice things like, for example, we measure how many ads and trackers are there on any page. And if there are too many, we downrank those kind of results because they usually correspond to low quality content. I mean, little signals like that other search engines cannot do because they're, ad based and would be admitting that their model doesn't work. But we can, and this helps tremendously propel high quality, pages up, and downrank those bad pages, with lots of ads, trackers, affiliate links. You all seen them. So yeah, we do our own stuff on top of search results, but then most importantly, we give users the tools. So you can block a website in Kagi results if you don't like it. Lots of people do that for political content. For example, you don't like this website or this news source, say block it in my search results. I don't want to ever see it again. And similarly, you can promote sites you like. And we actually have a public list of sites that Kagi users block and promote the most. So you can quickly...
like the old blog roll.
Yeah, basically, if you go to kagi.com/stats, there's something called domain insights, and that this gives you idea of what Kagi users at least are thinking are good or bad websites on the web.
Vlad, I confessed to you before we got on that I'm late to Kagi. I'm already loving it in no time at all. I'm curious about your views of the web as a whole. People are complaining about Google being worse, and there's two theories about that Google's doing things wrong, but also the web is worse, not just because of AI, because of all kinds of things. How do you view the state of the web itself? And you've already mentioned a few ways in which you try to clean some of the junk out, but where do you see the trend going? How do you fight? I can't help but say it, the enshittification that's out there.
Yeah, I think it's pretty simple. Up until 2004 or 5, the web was in pretty good shape, and it was driven by, I would say, self-expression and people just creating those quirky, funky websites. I had one that I would probably be ashamed of now, but it was the...
Was it on GeoCities, Vlad?
Yeah, something like that. Like and all those crazy graphics and
flashing things
under construction.
I was saying how madly in love I was with Meg Ryan and things like that. So,
Well, I certainly hope that hasn't changed.
stuff that one would do. But that sort of quickly changed as soon as then the most popular search engine, Google, adopted ads as a business model. And interestingly enough, Sergey and Larry, in their white paper describing PageRank, which basically led to Google, said very clearly that ads will ruin any search because of misalignment of incentives. And they were giving examples of other search engines at the time doing that and saying how Google will not do that. And about 6 years from that paper, they did indeed embrace the ad-based business model. And I think this is what fundamentally led to deterioration of the web over the next few decades. Because first, the search got worse because the incentives were wrong and the search experience was optimized for search customers, which were not the same as search users. The customers were advertisers, obviously. And the web consequently got worse because there were whole new generation of websites built around ad monetization as their sole primary purpose, which led to a ton of low quality content. And most of the web today, I would say 99% of all pages exist for the purpose of monetization through ads. And they do not exist for the purpose of informing and educating the reader. And that unfortunately includes most of the news websites that we read. So this process has been slow, and we haven't really been noticing it as it gradually happened over 2 decades. But it got into such a bad situation that many people today are waking up to this fact. And you cannot basically browse the web today without an ad blocker. If you're doing that, then good luck. But if you think about it, if everybody had an ad blocker, the 99% of the web would disappear. So this broken web exists basically and fundamentally only because there are still people out there, basically the most vulnerable, least tech savvy people, who are still consuming these ads and being targeted by them. So it's sort of a sad story, but I would say the last 20 years of the web have been built on a lie. And it's now sort of unraveling with these AI overviews in Google results. Those websites are suddenly realizing that there was no contract in place, and that, Google convinced everybody that exposure was payment enough, like sending traffic. And, these publishers got addicted to that traffic. The traffic is there no more, and Google sort of kept all for itself. So it's been sad to watch, but yeah, I got sort of woken up from this in 2018 and decided to do something about it.
What was the tipping point for you? When did you kind of realize that this was a problem?
Yeah, there were two things that happened. One was I literally remember the query. I was looking for GitLab, which is like a GitHub alternative. And Google served me an ad for GitLab, and then that same result below as an organic result. And I realized that I, as a user, am getting two identical results. And I felt like a monkey. I felt like my intelligence was so insulted by that. And that, for a $1 trillion company to do that to me as a user, I thought it was outrageous. And at the same time, my oldest kid was starting elementary school. And here in Palo Alto, they all get Chromebooks with Google pre-installed and all that. A fantastic distribution strategy for Google. But I also realized that my kid will be exposed to this crap over the next 12 years. She will be profiled, targeted with ads, and all sorts of bad things that I didn't want for my kids. And I have 3 kids, by the way. And yeah, at the time I could pay for YouTube Premium, for example, to get rid of ads, but there was no search engine, which I thought was, many times more important. And this is where the idea came from, basically.
Did you opt your daughter out of the Chromebook? I mean, what did you do then?
Funny thing happens. So, all my kids use Kagi. They install that on their Chromebooks. They go to school. Teacher sees Kagi, and the teacher goes like, "What's this?" And they turn it back to Google.
Really?
So there's a lot of education to be had. Yes, I mean, the teacher is acting obviously they're thinking they're acting in the best interest, thinking the kid got malware or something, right? And it will take time for these ideas to propagate, I feel, but more and more people are realizing it.
Did you teach the teacher?
No, not really, but we are working on it. That's what we have Kevin for. Kevin is the head of education at Kagi.
He's good. Yes.
Yeah.
She should have said, this is my dad's company. What do you want?
Yeah. Palo Alto, for God's sakes.
Come on.
I was going to say, those kids have all got to have like 7 parental installed apps that their parents work at.
Yeah.
Every kid in that school, I'm sure, has a different app.
So you also do you have your own spider now? Are you able to do your own web searching?
Yeah, we crawl the web, but as I said, we focus on the non-commercial web.
Right.
Because this is what's being left out in all other search engines. And, just anecdotally from our users, this is, I think, what many of them find very valuable, to actually read human blogs and things like that. I
completely agree. Yeah.
Even when you do commercial queries like best, running shoes or headphones, you're going to see a lot of writing from people who are not trying to monetize their content. And that is extremely valuable. I want to read from the guy who tried 5, different running shoes and, picked one, and there are no affiliate links. So that's what I'm looking for. So yeah, this is the kind of the web that we are mostly interested in and have resources to crawl.
I noticed that the number one site people block, because with Kagi you can say, I don't want results from this site or that site, is Pinterest.
The number 2 site, pinterest.co.uk. The number 3 site, pinterest.de. The number 4 site, pinterest.ca. It goes on. I find this fascinating.
So I don't block anything.
I like Pinterest, but I also do think this is definitely like a meme among tech people. They're like, all of my search results have Pinterest in them. So it's very funny to see that.
One of the other things you're doing is integrating with other third-party applications, which I think is very cool. If you're a Mac user and use Alfred, you can have that built into your Alfred search. I imagine there'll be more of these as people become more and more aware of Kagi. You also, and this is really important for people who are very privacy focused, you have a very clever privacy protecting tool that makes it so that you can't even see what people are searching for. Tell us a little bit about that feature.
Sure. So one of the main features of Kagi, I would say, is that privacy basically comes with a business model, because we are not interested in user data. We are interested in your $5 or $10 a month, and that's it. That's where the transaction stops. And which makes user data a liability for Kagi, actually. So we want the least amount of it as possible. But we also realize that saying that is not enough for some users, for hardcore, privacy users. And so we developed this technology called Privacy Pass, which actually builds on some very interesting research that has been done recently in the field of cryptography. And basically, when you use Privacy Pass in Kagi, we cannot tell who the user searching is on a technical level. Like, even if we wanted to know who you are, we still cannot tell, but we can authenticate and know that somebody paid to be able to search, because ultimately you need to be able to pay. This is why this was such a challenge, because you need a payment, but we wanted not to have ability to know who the user is on a technical level. Uh-huh. So this is what Privacy Pass does.
And then if you really want to add to privacy, and Lee Hutchinson talks about this, you also have a Tor address. So people can go to you without even using their IP address. So you can be completely anonymous on Kagi.
Yes, you can be completely anonymous and still have paid for your account.
Really
nice.
Do
you work with folks like Common Crawl? Are there others who want to use your crawl? How does that, is there a crawling community?
Yes, they are. There's Common Crawl is something we use. Actually, one of our employees comes from Common Crawl. We are also opening our search API very soon. So
nice.
Great.
It's going to be announced in about a month or so. And I see a lot of demand for that, especially now in the age of AI. I would say all these models are sort of converging to the same place. And what makes the difference in accuracy is the quality of search you feed to them. So having something like Kagi search results instead of your Bing or Google results can tremendously increase the accuracy of AI answers, which is still their weakest sort of link. So very bullish on the search API that we are working on.
We should, somebody's asking in our Club to Discord, we should mention that you are on all platforms, Windows, Mac, Linux. It's easy to integrate it into almost any browser. You offer your own browser, Orion, which is for Mac only or iOS only. But you also plan to do that in Linux, I think, yes?
Yeah, we'll now, in Kagi, there's no lack of ambition. There's only lack of resources. So it took us a while to get to the stage that we announced we are now going to do Orion on Linux. And then a lot of Windows users said, well, why not Windows? Like, we are the biggest market. Linux is the smallest. Like, we are not optimizing for market share or growth. Nice. We are doing things that we can do. Linux is in the works. It's coming in about 9 months. We hope so. Yeah.
Well, it's based on WebKit, which is based on, of course, K back in the day. So Linux is kind of a natural place to go next, I think, from a development point of view. Doggo is your little mascot, right? Is that your dog?
Yes. Well, not my dog. Well, that's the one on the screen is user-generated one. We had a contest. I'm not sure. Actually, my eyesight is pretty bad. But we had a contest with users who draw Doggo.
It's very cute. When you click on him, he looks down and says, "Let's fetch." So that's
There's a cute little interaction there.
This may remind you of the old days when a search page didn't have a lot of crap on it. It just had, what do you want to find? You still have, you do a lot of this, the Boolean stuff that Google did, including the quoted searches. You have the lens, which is fantastic as a way of customizing the sources. I can go on and on. Read Lee Hutchinson's very good article on Ars Technica. He talks about a lot of features, some of which I didn't know. In fact, now I'm starting to think, instead of paying for Perplexity and ChatGPT and Anthropic's Claude, and I have $20 subscriptions with so many different AIs, they're all available in the Assistant. I might just move it all to the Kagi Assistant, right? It's the same. What do I need all of them for? In fact, it's better because I can customize it, and you have some really interesting ones, including this new Moonshot LLM, which is pretty interesting. I'm starting to think this is going to be, I'm going to spend more time than ever before in Kagi. I congratulate you, 53,000 members as of this recording. That's great. Try it for free, folks. Pay for it if you want it to continue. I really think this is so important. Having been, having seen Neva go down because they just couldn't make it as a paid search, I really want Kagi to make it. And I think, Vlad, you got the right idea. So glad you're doing what you're doing. Thank you, Vlad Prelovac. It's really nice to talk to you. I didn't give you guys much chance to talk to Vlad because I'm kind of...
you're the super fan.
I'm starstruck. Yeah.
He's really been talking about Kagi for a long time on this podcast.
Yeah. I don't know why everybody doesn't use it. This is fantastic.
It takes time. And thanks for helping spread the word, Leo.
It really does take time. A lot to us. Yeah. It does take time. I learned about it first, as many did, on Hacker News. So Hacker News probably spread the word first. But man, it's just, and you keep adding features, which makes it even more interesting.
We love what we do.
Yeah. Lifetime member, a Ryan Plus member, by the way.
Oh, thank you so much.
I just, I want you to make it. I want you to succeed. It's so exciting. And you know what? You're getting there. A million queries yesterday. That's good.
Yeah.
That's a lot of traffic going on.
I like to say that's about 9 seconds of Google searches in a day. So, we are 9 seconds of Google. That's not too bad.
Are any VCs coming to you now?
Yeah, we have VC interests now, but now we are not interested.
I was going to say, it's interesting. You exclusively raise like the 2.5 million you guys have so far outside of your contributions from user investors.
Yeah.
So do you have any further plan to, raise from either user investors or go the VC route?
Yeah, we found out that the user route was really nice because it was super easy. We had a lot of interest. I think about 90 users ended up investing. And these are all, our biggest fans. We get a lot of help and support from them. I brainstorm with them all the time. So it's much better, I think, than having, investor-based board that tells us what to do. So in terms
you don't have the pressures to scale
and no pressure. Well. Yeah, I like that for me. So yeah, well, we do have some pretty ambitious projects down the road that we are experimenting with now. So if that needs extra capital, we're probably going to go that route again.
Good.
Yeah.
I don't allow myself to invest in tech companies, but I think this would be okay. It's a public benefit after all.
Is there a way to... user Martin Sassenberg asks if there's a way to, do you guys have documentation on how to SEO websites for Kagi to try and to put a website into getting scraped by you guys?
It's super simple. We have something called Kagi Small Web. So if you have a personal website or a blog that's non-commercial in nature, you just add it there. We automatically crawl you. And not only that, we're going to push it to number 2 or 3 in results for relevant queries, all automatically. So this is basically our way to surface all the high quality stuff people are writing out there. If it's a commercial website, then it's a different story. And one day we're going to launch Webmaster Tools and have more information on that.
Nice.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
I almost thought you'd say, no, we don't want any SEO. I am going to add my little blog to the Kagi small web feed. And also, you're offering AI tools to small blogs, which I have also applied for because I think that would be very interesting. Yeah, really cool. You're doing it just shows
good
that you
stuff.
could do good, important, innovative work without being, about monetizing your customers, and in any way but give us $5 so that we can, support you. I think that's fantastic. Thank you, Vlad. Kagi is also on Discord, so you can talk back and learn more about Kagi from the people who are working on it right now. Vlad, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Been an honor.
Kagi.com. Try it for free. Hey, I hope you enjoyed this highlight from Intelligent Machines. We do the show every Wednesday. You can watch us do it live. Or, as they say, like and subscribe. There's a link down below. Thanks.